Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and in this video, we are going to discuss Blood Sugar, the new hard case crime novel by Daniel Kraus, the co-author of The Shape of Water novelization with Guillermo Del Toro, the filmmaker, the director of The Shape of Water. This is a Halloween hard case crime novel timed perfectly, released just in time for Halloween this year. And full disclosure, I was sent this in exchange for a review. This is our review, but I'm going to tell you guys, this book challenged me on multiple levels. First and foremost, when I think of hard case crime, I think of hard-boiled detective fiction. I think of film noir type stories, the Asphalt Jungle sort of thing, heist stories, grifters trying to get one over, con artists, that sort of a thing. And hard case crime does frequently reprint and publish lost crime novels from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all eras of crime. But they are very associated with that very gritty, that noir, hard-boiled fiction. People, like, you got to smoke them with your heater. Here's what we're going to do. See, we're going to go into the bank. See, you're going to smoke them with your heater. Then you're going to grab that money and you're going to beat it, pal. You're going to beat it. That sort of thing. Hard case crime. And every now and then over the years, hard case crime has brought in outside types of stories. There are a couple of Stephen King books. In fact, Stephen King is one of the guys that helped bring notoriety to the label with some of his stories. And they're not traditional. They're not what we're talking about. They're not that gritty film noir style storytelling. So on that note comes Blood Sugar, a book that really challenged me across the board. For one of those is because it is one of those books that falls into the latter category that I'm telling you about. It is not a heist or like a bank robbery, a grifter story. It's not one of those kinds of stories. It is more of the Stephen King kind of story. And I'm not going to do the whole plot for you, but I will give you a brief plot encapsulation of what this is kind of about, just so you know. It is a group of kids in the inner city. I'm going to say, for lack of a better term, some kids living in the hood, and they're hanging out with this older kid who's like 19 or 20, and they are really unhappy because life has handed them a raw deal. They have grown up taking care of themselves, growing up on the streets, latchkey kids, and they decide to get their revenge on Halloween by poisoning a bunch of candy. Now, we probably all are familiar with horror movies about we're going to poison the candy and kill all those kids. It's kind of a horror trope, right? And it can be a fun, scary storytelling device. However, as presented in this book, we're about to talk about some of the things that challenge me. It's just really sad. It's done with so much pathos and so much brokenheartedness that the whole book, there's this permeating sadness throughout the entire thing. Sadness and human pathos, those are not themes that I necessarily associate with the hard case crime label. That does not mean that I don't like it, and it does not mean that I don't think it works. I actually think it's remarkably effective. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. Mr. Kraus knew exactly the kind of story that he wanted to tell, and I think he told it very well. I think he wanted to pull on the heartstrings. I think it's impossible to read this book and not feel an immense sympathy or empathy for the characters and just how grim it is. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this is one of the more grim books that I have ever read. But I will say that Daniel Kraus had a narrative in mind and he achieved it very well because it does not necessarily stay there. There is an end game. Things that I thought were kind of throwaways in the book come back and are tied up. Lots of little things are tied up very well. I am ultimately very glad that I read it. But I will say that it's not conventionally what we think of as hard case crime. The cover is amazing. It's also a little bit misleading because while this cover does show up in the book, we're talking about a modern story, modern kids in the modern inner city, I guess. There's Lord of the Rings references. I think there's a Price is Right, Drew Carey reference. So it does not in any way, shape, or form take the place of classic take place in the classic, detective era, But one other thing that I wanted to mention that was challenging, and I think this is the last thing that I'm going to say was challenging. And again, challenging does not mean bad. It just means my preconceived notions were really shattered. But it's written in this kind of stream of consciousness style by the narrator, and there's like almost no punctuation. There'll be like a whole paragraph as one sentence. This is all deliberately done, and it's mostly written in what I guess I'd say it's ebonics. It's like stream of conscious narration by this kid, who I gather is in early high school perhaps, and so lots of ebonics, lots of Lord of the Rings references, like he loves Lord of the Rings, so there's constant references to like Aragorn and all this stuff. Just not at all what I was expecting from a hard case crime novel, but it's kind of remarkable in what it achieves. The other thing that I did want to mention before the end of this video is that the book often feels like it's geared to young people, but yet it's not, because it's full of profanity. It's full of very complicated, complex themes that I think are over kids' heads. I would not recommend this to a teenager. I mean, I really wouldn't. I have a teenager, and I would not recommend this to my teenager. I feel like this is a very adult book about young people. So know that going in if you're thinking about recommending this. Daniel Kraus is known for some of his young adult work. There's like Troll Hunters work, and he's done stuff for Disney. But this is not what I would consider to be kid-friendly. Though the story itself, if you take away some of these heavy elements, it does feel geared towards kids. I think not kids, but I think teenagers who are going through that maturing time, when you think the world is out to get you, and hey, sometimes it is. That it seems like it's geared for them, but yet it does go so far and it's so dark. But I yet recommend it because what he's trying to do, I think that he actually does accomplish, and I am glad that I read it. It's another hard case crime novel to add to the bookshelf, and if you're a hard case crime completist, I would recommend picking this up if you're also a Daniel Kraus fan. Of course, this is going to be right up your alley, but just know some of the things that I personally had to overcome in reading this. So guys, that is my review of Blood Sugar. I think I recommend it. I'm still processing it, to be honest with you guys. It's not an easy read. It's not a kind of thing that you're like, and done, and then you just turn on, TV. It's a meaty, heavy, thoughtful read. So I'm still processing, but I think I like it. Guys, thank you for hanging out. What are you reading? What's happening in your what's on your bookshelf? What's on your Kindle? Guys, let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do appreciate you. And until next time, take care, and I will catch you later.